also have a message tonight for the incredible people of Greenland.
You know why we fight with Greenland? Why we fight with Greenland? We fighting with Canada. We fighting with Mexico. Yet we in love with Putin. What is happening? Like, this is not America.
Jasmine Crockett is not holding anything back. She's calling out Trump, straight up lying to Americans. And let's be real, it's not necessarily breaking news, but the manner
Well, he did say he'd be a dictator on day one. Oh, Democrats, you know, it's just Trump. He just talks. Well, let me tell you something. He is doing more than talking. We talked about Project 2025. We talked about the consolidation of power. We talked about how he wanted to be a king. We talked about in a democratic republic, that is not what it is. We have some sort of checks and balances, and he is doing everything that he can to get rid of those checks and balances. The DOJ and the people that he's going after were simply doing their jobs. The problem is that Americans thought that it was okay to take a full-fledged criminal and make him the president of the United States, and then they want to act aghast when he does criminal things. Let me tell you, we have a thug in charge of the United States, and if we don't wake up, we may not have a United States, because right now he has only been successful in being a divider in chief.
While Trump is out here playing like the victim, Crockett is pulling him through the dirt, bringing forth every lie he's fed the public. She's making it understandable. This isn't about politics. It's about truth. And Trump, well, he's losing it as per usual, launching into another incoherent tirade because someone had the nerve to tell the truth about him. Grab your popcorn. This is going to be good. At Jasmine Crockett not only speaks truth to power, she serves it up on a silver platter with a side of blazing hot sauce.
The only reason we're having this hearing is because somebody got their feelings hurt in a debate. And I don't understand why we're wasting taxpayer dollars. Next time, tell your big boy to show up and be ready to handle the woman in the room who hopefully will become the next president of the United States. And the final thing that I will say is that this election, I didn't ask you a question. The final thing that I will say is that this election is the best example of why y'all are so afraid.
When it comes to Donald Trump, she's not here for the fluff or the sugar coating. She's knocking him with the raw, unfiltered truth, like a verbal Mike Tyson. One by one, she's dismantling his tower of tall tales. And let's be real, that thing is wobbler than a Jenga tower constructed by a guy who just downed 5 espressos.
Let me ask each of the mayors, just yes or no. Have any of you been made aware of any immigrant that has had 34 felony convictions that has still been able to roam around in your cities? Anyone?
No, ma'am.
34 felony convictions.
No,
from the
Congresswoman.
immigrants. Anybody?
I'm not aware.
Oh, okay. I'm just curious because we are so concerned about crime, and I know that my Republican colleagues would never want anybody with 34 felony convictions roaming around because that could be a danger to the community, but I will move on.
From his incessant accusations of a fixed election, which courts have slapped down more vigorously than a WWE wrestler, to his tendency to launch unfounded accusations against anyone who dares challenge him. Trump has constructed an empire on disinformation. But Jasmine, oh, she's the wrecking crew, with facts, receipts, and the passion of 1,000 exasperated debate moderators. She's tearing down the hooey he's been peddling for decades. And let's discuss those speeches.
Apparently, there will not be another presidential debate. I'm sure you watched Kamala Harris and Donald Trump on Tuesday. This has been on again, off again. He says it's not going to happen. What are you laughing at?
I'm sorry. I did not know that that's where you were going with this. Listen, even a blind man could see that it was a man down situation the other day during the debate. You know, one of the phrases that we use as a colloquialism is that we snatch wigs. Well, I'm just telling you, he got his toupee snatched. And so regardless of what type of spinning he's going to try to do, it is clear that he knows that this is a woman that he literally just cannot measure up to. And so absolutely, he doesn't want to go another round.
Fiery understatement. Relentless. For sure. She's out here fact-checking Trump live, ensuring that his misinformation doesn't even get a chance to catch its breath. At this point, his lies are gasping for air like a fish flailing on dry land. Trump loves to name call, but with Jasmine Crockett on his tail, he may want to spend his time coming up with an excuse, because she's ensuring that he has nowhere to hide. Let me be clear, Elon can't be president of the United States because he's an immigrant. Trump's playbook is as predictable as a repeat of The Apprentice. Deny, distract, and deflect. It's like watching a one-trick magician. Now you see the truth, and now look over there Hillary's emails Every time someone calls him out, he changes the narrative quicker than a DJ. Changing tracks at a New York club, and in his head, he's always the victim, persecuted, unfairly, treated the most misunderstood billionaire in history, Jasmine Crockett, who wasn't having it. She's not just calling Trump out, she's dragging him around the airport like a suitcase. She knows his entire routine: avoid accountability, gaslight the nation, and when in doubt, blame literally anyone other than him. Did he lose an election? Rigged. Did he get indicted? Witch hunt? Did he lie? Again, fake news. It's like playing Trump bingo. Mark is square every time he complains the FBI is after him but Crockett isn't buying the circus act. She's calling out the way Trump has reused the same old script for years. And yet, people continue to believe it like it's the new iPhone release, rather than speaking about his own actions. Like, attempting to subvert a democratic election. He prefers to complain about being persecuted, rallying his base on his alleged misery. And let's be real, Trump plays the victim so much, it's amazing he hasn't laminated him. The twist is, Crockett isn't playing nice. She's making sure everyone knows this isn't a case of political opinion, and it's not a disagreement. This is about facts, hard, egregious, shameful facts. Trump has lied to America more times than we can enumerate, and he does so without even blinking. His plan: say something ridiculous, repeat it until his base accepts it, then cry. The media is out to get him when they have the temerity to fact-check. It's political gaslighting on an Olympic scale at this point, observing Trump.
Security secrets, 7 counts related to obstructing the investigation, 3 false statements, 1 count of conspiracy to defraud the United States, falsifying business records, conspiracy to defraud the United States, 2 counts related to efforts to obstruct the vote certification proceedings, 1 count of conspiracy to violate civil rights, 23 counts related to forgery or false document statements, 8 counts related to soliciting, and I could go on because he's got 91 counts pending right now. But I will tell you what the president has been guilty of. He has unfortunately been guilty of loving his child unconditionally, and that is the only evidence that they have brought forward. And honestly, I hope and pray that my parents love me half as much as he loves his child. Until they find some evidence, we need to get back to the people's work, which means keeping this government open so that people don't go hungry in the streets of the United States. And I will yield.
Accountability is like observing a cat trying to get out of taking a bath. The minute things get real, he scrambles for an escape, claws out, yowling about how unfair it all is, and yet his followers lap it up, believing he alone is taking on the deep state, the fake news, and whatever other boogeyman he invents that day. But Crockett is naming the actual game. Trump isn't some persecuted hero. He's a master manipulator who lives on misinformation and fear. His whole political brand is grievance-based, and he knows precisely how to weaponize it. The issue, he's played this trick so many times that the ruse is getting thin. Even his most devoted supporters are beginning to glance around like, wait, didn't he say the same thing last week? So while Trump makes his pity tour, Jasmine Crockett is here to point out to everyone that facts are still important, and no, just because he screams the witch hunt does not mean he's innocent.
Is doing everything that he can to get rid of those checks and balances. The DOJ and the people that he's going after were simply doing their jobs. The problem is that Americans thought that it was okay to take a full-fledged criminal and make him the president of the United States, and then they want to act aghast when he does criminal things. Let me tell you, we have a thug in charge of the United States, and if we don't wake up, we may not have a United States, because right now he has only been successful in being a divider in chief.
When the cauldron is still smoking. Jasmine Crockett, very straightforward. We currently have a white supremacist who is sitting in the White House. He is supported by other white supremacists. And if you truly want to know who the criminals are in this nation, you can Google it. You don't need to believe me. But the individuals who commit 80% of the most violent offenses in this nation are white supremacists. Yet for some reason, they sit and they work at the pleasure of the president. They're the ones that were present on January 6th, destroying our democracy in the flesh. And now we have them destroying us right here in our own chamber. From Jasmine, Crockett is on a mission, and she's pulling no punches. She's coming for Trump. She's coming for his enablers. And frankly, she's coming for anyone Still out here believing the My Pillow dude's conspiracy theories. She's got receipts, facts, and let's be real, some level of self-assurance which can only issue from the absolute knowledge that you're right. And when it comes to Trump enablers, oh, she's hauling them in as well. You know, the kind politicians who used to pretend to possess a spine and denouncing Trump's rubbish whenever it suited their purposes. But as soon as they saw they were in need of his base, they're collapsing quicker than a flimsy lawn chair. 1 minute, they're holding their pearls in horror at his antics. The next, they're at Mar-a-Lago smiling like they just wish for a free trip to Disney World. Crockett's not letting them pull this flip-flopping stunt, and let's discuss on Trump's reaction. Predictable outrage, tantrum. It's like viewing a rerun of a program that needed to be canceled. 3 seasons ago, he's tweeting out social media rants with the passion of a man who just lost his Wi-Fi connection in the middle of a Tucker Carlson clip. He's using nicknames playing victim and pretending the world is out to get him. They giving me hell. Honey, sure. But you give it right back at them. A lot of them do not do that. Absolutely. It's de rigueur in this environment, although right, because they will steamroll right over you. And sad to say, we see that from day one. Baby, that pen had been going and it ain't stopped, and it's steamrolling over all of our rights and our liberties and our freedoms and everything that we believed was the foundation of this country. Our Constitution seems like we're saying, well, nope, with a pen, discard. The Constitution, with a pen, discard. Empowerment and other enacted legislation. But does Jasmine Crockett, not even in a small measure, she's out here dealing with Trump, like your auntie is dealing with that one cousin, still refuses to reimburse back the $20 he loaned her? She's got facts on her hands and she's slicing them through the air with her lightsaber sword. She's criticizing the hypocrisy, demolishing disinformation, and assuring that the American people understand past the deceitfulness. Because fundamentally speaking, Trump's largest illusionary device isn't tax reform, nor the border wall. It's to fool folks he's a victim, while the GOP is in panic mode, attempting to figure out how to justify the unjustifiable. Some are holding fast to their scripts, sanitizing the same old witch hunt, talking points. Others are simply praying. If they keep their mouths shut long enough, this whole debacle will just disappear. Spoiler alert, it won't. And then there are the Fox News commentators frantically attempting to come up with the next best excuse for Trump's conduct. Well, technically, lying isn't criminal if you think it's true. At this point, Trump's whole approach is just screaming louder and praying no one will see the details. But Crockett, she's ensuring the details are in our faces. She's not just outing Trump. She's outing even the entire system of individuals who continue to empower him. And so to determine that we were going to judge what he was experiencing as the president, chose to stand up there and lie, as we know he always does, and declare that he had a mandate. We know that he did not campaign on this notion of eliminating Medicaid or eliminating Social Security. In fact, each time we mentioned it, the Republicans accused us of lying. Each time we mentioned that they were seeking to project 2025, they accused us of lying. And now we know that the chief liar and liar did what he always does, which is lie. And for whatever reason, the American people did not believe us when we told them precisely what was going to happen. And if history has taught us anything, it's this. The truth always prevails. It may take a while, and it may have to fight through a lot of nonsense before. But in the end, the truth prevails. And Jasmine Crockett is ensuring that it does, with receipts, humor, and absolutely zero tolerance for MAGA delusions, while some politicians treat Trump like an untouchable political deity. Crockett is out here hauling him like a broken suitcase at the airport. She's calling his corruption out, tearing his lies, and making it clear that just because he shouts something or types it in all caps at 3:00 a.m. doesn't make it so. And let's discuss her delivery, because this woman doesn't sugarcoat. She takes Trump on with the finesse of a late-night comic and the tenacity of a courtroom attorney, whether she's burning his hypocrisy or fact-checking his new delusion in real time. Crockett is showing that she's not intimidated by the so-called Teflon Don. We consider the fact that he even attempted to do his little tariff war with Mexico and Texas. We have a very special relationship for a lot of different reasons. but one is because they are our largest trade partner too. So now we've got all these farmers who are complaining, hey, my farm workers aren't showing up. It's not only the schools, the hospitals, and the churches. It's really everywhere. They're scared to go to work. And that's only creating more problems for us Americans. And that's what I want people to get. This isn't a thing of, oh, well, that's over there. This affects all of us because, again, we are a nation of immigrants. And the reality that we have so many individuals that do not know our history or want to erase our history, or as we call this, administration, particularly during Black History Month, they want to erase our past. The truth is that immigrants have always been what kept this nation great. Political pundits are taking notes. Social media is devouring it. And Trump himself is likely sweating through his golf shirt in a world where misinformation spreads quicker than his legal bills. Crockett's devotion to truth is like an intervention badly needed. She's not merely speaking. She's getting Trump and his buddies agitated. And perhaps, just perhaps, she's reminding America that no one, not even Trump, is above the truth. Trump's record of dishonesty isn't just election lies. His regime was replete with falsehoods regarding everything from the economy to public health. The bungling of the COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, was full of contradictions, untrue statements, and sheer fabrications. Crockett has not been afraid to point out how Trump's disinformation put lives at risk and confuse fusion at a moment where clarity was acutely needed. Aside from that, Crockett is laying bare Trump's financial deceptions. His self-made billionaire status has been disproven time and again, with investigations showing how he cooked the books, overstated his worth, and depended on shady business practices. She's making it obvious that Trump's whole persona is constructed on dishonesty, and the more he attempts to flee from the truth, the more it finds him. It's his name, he's glued to it. No. And he's counting on the people that absolutely pulled it together. Yeah, exactly. So here's the deal. I think that there are those that just said, I want to do something different. And so we know that usually when people are feeling it, especially in the economy, they tend to just go the other way. The issue is that this wasn't the guy to fix anything. This is the guy that is the king of smashing things in plain sight. As Crockett keeps pounding away at Trump's lies, she's also calling out the Republican Party to stand up. She's calling out hypocrisy on both sides of the aisle, where people once called out Trump's lies, but now line up behind him to advance their own political futures. She's revealing how fear of Trump's power has caused numerous GOP lawmakers to shed principles they used to espouse in the social media era, where misinformation travels at lightning speed. Crockett's voice acts as a counter to the disinformation machine. Her capacity to fact-check in real time and name Trump's lies on public forums guarantees that false narratives don't go unchecked. She's demonstrating that the battle for truth demands courage and vigilance. Trump's response to Crockett's rebuke follows his customary pattern, name-calling, discrediting his adversaries and deflecting blame. But this time, the walls are closing in. Investigations, lawsuits, and increasing evidence keep chipping away at the legend he's created around himself. And Crockett is making sure everybody doesn't forget it. Republicans, it's sort of like Trump. Like Trump isn't deciding that he's going to owe all these people that contributed all the small money that they probably didn't have to his campaign that went out and voted for him because they really did believe in him. They believed the lies that he said. When he said on day one he was going to end war. When he said on day one that he was going to lower the cost of food. That when he said on day one that he was going to give us a big, beautiful America, right? Like they believe that. And so, as much as I spar on social media and that type of stuff with, radical MAGA, there's just not that much of this country that is just MAGA, right? Like I refuse to believe that the overwhelming majority of this country is MAGA. And let's be real, Trump's reaction to being called out is like as predictable as the sun rising in the east. He'll likely call Jasmine Crockett a loser on truth, social, while misspelling at least 3 words. Maybe he'll include a classic witch hunt tag just for old time's sake. The man reuses talking points like he's getting paid per rerun. Crockett, on the other hand, is giving a masterclass in political comedy, easily transforming Trump's rubbish into viral sound bites. It's like seeing a stand-up comedian roast a hack. Except this. Heckler was once president and still believes he is. At the end of the day, Crockett's message is straightforward. Trump can run, but he cannot hide from the truth, and if he attempts to, well, she'll just chase him down with another mic drop moment. So buckle up, folks. This show is not even close to being over.